Today we're going to be talking about designing for self-expression. Self-expression is a key difference between video games and other media. It's just allowing the player to tailor the game to their whims, whether these be aesthetic, beliefs, or preferred playstyle. The key to self-expression is giving players the ability to make meaningful decisions that are decided by their whims, where a meaningful decision is a decision point where the player has more than one acceptable choice. As choices are the player's way of interacting with the game, meaningful decisions become their channel of communication with the game. The player needs to have something that they want to say through this channel, though, and that is a function of their whims. When you look at filling a box with a number in Sudoku, there is no choice for the player to make. There's simply a correct decision. The player has to put the right number in the right box, and that's all there is to it. Whereas when you look at choosing an outfit in Animal Crossing, there's a multitude of choices, and the game supports you in every one. A corollary to the fact that self expression needs a decision point with multiple acceptable answers is that difficulty can reduce the scope for self expression by reducing the number of acceptable answers. Good balance, of course, mitigates this by bringing that number back up. What I find really interesting is that the existence of an optimal choice does not kill the game's ability to provide self expression, but it does modify it. Where now the player's whim of taking the easy way out, which is the optimal choice, or taking a harder way out, which is any of the other choices, is supported by the game. Now, when you look at a coin flip, that is a decision point with multiple acceptable choices. Players can choose head or tails. However, normally they don't have a preference for this. They have no whims associated with this decision point. However, when you look at choosing between good and evil in a game like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, that's something that players intrinsically have an opinion on whether they want to play the light side or the dark side. Now, choices that allow the player to customize how they play the game will ensure that the player has a known preference, right? Some players like being up and in your face, like a pyro in TF2, whereas others prefer camping and shooting from a long range, like a sniper. Now, when you look at the fact that self-expression is all about decision points, what that means is that by emphasizing those decision points using standard patterns for this, we can emphasize a game's ability to provide self-expression. So if you look at hero armor in a game like World of Warcraft, it has tangible results, which helps emphasize that decision. Right? Once you have your armor set, your stats have changed, and also your appearance has changed. These are tangible results. Additionally, it represents player effort, where adding effort to a decision point is a great way of making that decision point more valuable to a player. Note, however, that this creates tension in the whims of the player, in what the piece represents intrinsically, which in the case of this armor is its appearance and its stats, and what the piece represents to the effort involved. So you sometimes see players wearing armor they don't like because it took so much effort for them to obtain it, and so it's something they can use to show off. Another thing is reinforcement decisions, where in the case of WoW armor, once you've chosen your first piece out of a set, you're heavily incentivized to choose the other pieces, right? So once you've made the first decision, once you've solved the first decision of what you're going to wear for that first piece, you're now presented with a lot more decisions of what you're going to wear for every other piece of your armor, but they're essentially solved because the answer is the same as the first one. Another good example of this is in a game like Knights of the Old Republic, where you're presented very early on with the choice of whether you want to be good or evil. And once you've made that decision, the game encourages you to stick by it, right? You're not supposed to waffle back and forth, but you're continually presented with this decision over and over again to reinforce how important a decision it is in this game. So to conclude, games are at their core a set of arbitrary rules that you ask your players to abide by. And giving them some space to express themselves within these rules can help make that box a lot more comfortable. Really, what self expression does is it changes a game from being a monologue, which you present to your player, to being a conversation between the two of you.